My name is Lizzie, and this is Lizzie's Literary Life, and today we are doing the mid-year book freakout tag. So the mid-year book freakout tag is a staple on BookTube. It's been around. I saw someone link the original one, and it was 2016, so it's been around almost 10 years. Next year it'll be 10 years. Everyone does it, or a lot of people do it every single year. And I haven't done it every year I've been on BookTube, but we're doing it this year. It is a set of questions that has kind of evolved over time. And everyone has a little bit of a different set of questions. The core ones are the same. I have some on the end that not everybody does, but I like to do. We'll get to it. But basically, we're just here to talk about how my reading year has gone so far, and what are the best books, what are the not so best books, and all about that. So we are going to jump right into it. The first question, my laptop's right here. The first question that I will be answering is, how has your reading year gone so far? I feel like my reading year has been pretty good. That's my qualitative assessment, pretty good. I've read, as of compiling these answers, which was like a week ago, and I've since finished a book, but we're just going to go with what's on my screen because it's closer to the midpoint of the year. I've read 62 books, and my goal on Goodreads is 100, in which case I'm 9 books ahead. But my personal goal is 150. I just don't like to tell Goodreads 150 because then it'll tell me I'm behind, because I am 19 books behind for reaching 150, but that's okay. I'm 9 books ahead for reaching 100, so I can feel good about myself. My average rating so far this year is a 3.45, which I definitely would like to be higher, but I also feel like, I think last year at this point in the year, I barely had any 5 stars. I know it was June before I got my first 5-star in 2024. So, and I have had multiple 5 stars this year, so that's feeling a little bit better. But 3.45, so. Hopefully, as we move into the second half of the year and I have a little more control over what I'm reading, that'll go up, because I do feel like my reading year thus far has been very much defined by Herkyed. I was doing Herkyed until the end of June, the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, created by Q from Cordy. And I really feel like that dominated my reading and what I was choosing to read. And so hopefully, as I move into the second half of the year, I'll be choosing my books a little bit more, based on what I personally really am in the mood for. So maybe my average rating will increase by the end of the year. We'll see. The second question is, what is the best book you've read so far in 2025? Best book I've read so far was Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read it in June. I sobbed. I thought it was so good. So well done. Such excellent character work, and really just very emotional. I talked about it in my June wrap up, which was really recently, maybe even my most recent video. So you can, if you want more thoughts on it and a reenactment of me finishing that book and sobbing, go to that video. I'll link it up here. But I also have a couple honorable mentions, and those are Northwoods by Daniel Mason. This was a Shelf This pick, a pick for the Shelf This book club, which is coordinated by Is Bailey Reading, and that book was picked by Ruby from Ruby Red. I thought that was an excellent read, and I really highly recommend it. It's a weirder one. It's a more literary than Atmosphere for sure, but I thought it was just an excellent piece of writing. And then my other honorable mention is You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akweke Emezi. I wasn't expecting to love this as much as I did, and I did love it, and I did give it 5 stars. It just was really it was emotional and it was sweet, but it was also had a really good plot, and it just kind of checked all the boxes, hit all of the beats that I wanted it to hit. And so that was definitely an honorable mention for my favorite. Question number 3 is, what is the best sequel you have read so far in 2025? And I have to go with a Robin Hobb. I'm going to go with Fool's Errand, which is technically the first in a trilogy, but it's the third trilogy in the Realm of the Elderling, so I'm calling it a sequel. I loved that book. I love this series. I will continue to talk about it in this video and all the time. Just returning to those characters that we were with in the first trilogy was so, like, I loved the live ship traders. That was what solidified my love for this series. But, like, returning to Fitz and the Fool and all of those characters just felt like so good. And it was emotional. It was just, Robin Hobb is a master. And I loved Fool's Errand. What's the next one? Golden Fool. I didn't like quite as much. Like, I still loved it, but not quite as much as Fool's Errand. And I'm reading Fool's Fate right now, and I am loving it. And I think it's going to be another Robin Hobb sticks the landing on a trilogy. So, okay. Also, I do have an honorable mention. I'm going to talk about I talked about my Robin Hobb, but I also have an honorable mention for Valor by John Gwynne. I read Malice and Valor this year. I started with the catch-up book club read-along, but then I kind of fell behind because of Herkyed, so I've only read those two, but I'm loving that series. I loved Malice, and I really loved Valor as well, and I'm really excited to read the last two, so that is another honorable mention for a book that I feel like did not suffer from second book syndrome, and I just thought I think that series is excellent, and I thought that book was excellent. Question number 4 is, what is a new release you haven't read yet but want to? I was very on top of new releases in the first half of the year because of Herkyed and the new release every month challenge. But one that I had planned to read, I think it was an April or May release, and I had planned to read it as my May release, but then Bailey let me know that it was going to be a Shelf This pick later this year. It's August Shelf This pick, so I didn't read it, and I'm saving it to read it with Shelf This, but I'm really excited to. That is My Friends by Frederick Bachman. I love Frederick Bachman. I loved Beartown. I have enjoyed several of his other books. I'm trying to think of which ones I've read, and I don't even know, but I loved Beartown, so, and I've heard really, really good things about My Friends, so I'm really excited to read that in August with Shelf This. If you are interested in Shelf This, I will link the announcement for this set of books in the description if you want to read My Friends with us. That one was actually Bailey's pick for Shelf This, so I'm really excited to get to that one. Question number 5 is, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? I don't have one. I don't have an answer to this question. Like I said, I was really on top of paying attention to new releases in the first half of the year, and then I just have not, I'm not aware of any new releases. I'm sure there are some that I will be excited about, but actually I'm going to request that you comment down below. If there's a new release you're really excited for, comment it down below so that I can be excited for it too. Question number 6 is, what is your biggest disappointment of the year so far? And I am going to start by saying the whole Spiffbo experience. I didn't have super high hopes going into reading my 5 Spiffbo books. If you haven't seen that vlog, I did randomly generate 5 Spiffbo books and read them for Herkyed. I'll link that up here. But I didn't have super high hopes, but I did kind of hope that I would find a hidden gem, and I really did not. So that was really disappointing. And then my other answer here is a book that is not bad, but I was kind of disappointed by. And I also will point you to a video for this one, and that's The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I will absolutely continue this series. I will. I will continue with Stormlight. I have high hopes for the series as a whole, but the first book, it just took me so long to get into, and it dragged in several parts, and it was just so long. But I do have a full reading vlog with spoilers, but the spoilers are marked so you can avoid them, where I also did a crochet project. I will link that up here if you haven't seen it. But yeah, that was a little bit of a disappointing read, but not a bad book by any means. Next up, we have question number 7. What is your biggest surprise of the year so far? And I have 2 answers for this. Number 1, I actually own, and that is Pure Color by Sheila Heti. This book was one of the lowest rated books on my physical TBR that I read for Herkyed for that prompt, and I actually loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I just thought it was so weird and wonderful and like beautiful writing, excellent prose. Not much happened. Like there's not really a plot to speak of, but I did really enjoy my reading experience. And it was definitely a surprise because, I mean, I bought it thinking that I would like it, but then knowing that it was a low rated book on Goodreads, I disagree. And the other big surprise of the year was XOXY, by a memoir by Kimberly Zieselman, and this is a book I read for the intersex prompt for Herkyed, and I picked this book because I was just searching up books with intersex characters. I've already read several, like the most popular ones I feel like I've already read, and this one, I just kind of picked it sort of at random. It wasn't one that I had heard about at all before. It's a memoir by an intersex woman and activist, and I thought it was really, really well done. It wasn't my favorite memoir I've ever read, but I did think it was a fascinating story and very well written and well presented. And it made me emotional in places, and I really wasn't expecting that, so that was definitely a surprise. Question number 8 is, who is your favorite new author? New to you or debut, and a new to me author that I have loved this year, I've already talked about him, is John Gwynne. I read Malice and Valor, and I'm so excited to continue that series. I just think the writing is excellent, and I highly recommend it. I know people love those books, and I am no different. So John Gwynne, definitely a new favorite author for me. Question number 9 is, who is your newest fictional crush? This question I feel like is very 10 years ago booktube, and I love watching like different mid-year book freakout tags and seeing people answer it in different ways. But I'm gonna say Vanessa from Atmosphere. I'm not going to explain myself, really, but I thought she was just an excellent... People talk about book boyfriends all the time on Book Talk, but, like, Vanessa, high-quality book girlfriend. So, yeah, and I loved that book. Question number 10 is, who is your newest favorite character? And for this one, I'm going with a character that I was introduced to last year, but was really solidified as a favorite character for me this year. Like, I did really appreciate him last year in the earlier books in the series, but that is the Fool. In the Realm of the Elderlings, I have come to a new level of appreciation for the Fool. In the Tawny Man trilogy that I've been reading, and I cannot explain why, but I do just adore the Fool. Question number 11 is, what book has made you cry so far this year? You guys know my answer. It is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Literally sobbed. Moving right along. Question number 12 is, what book has made you the happiest so far this year? And I actually really struggled with this question. I feel like I don't read a lot of happy books. Like, I read a lot of sad, emotional lit fic. I read and love those. And I read a lot of, like, very intense kind of fantasy and stuff. And while there are definitely moments in, like, the Elderlings books that make me really happy, and there are, like, moments in different books that make me happy, I feel like the books that just made me consistently happy were the Tea Dragon Society series by Kay O'Neill. This is a graphic novel series. I don't read a ton of graphic novels, but I did really enjoy these. They're cute, they're sweet, they're fun, and they made me pretty happy. 4 stars across the board for that series, but definitely probably the happiest books just in general that I've read this year. Question number 13 is, what is the most beautiful book you've bought this year? And I initially was going to skip this question because I don't buy a ton of books. I'd only bought like 4 books this year. Most of them were used. None of them were particularly stunning, but I just recently, I'm gonna talk about the hot books again. I'm going to. Sorry. I recently, or we, this household recently purchased the Farseer trilogy. Assassin's Quest is not with me because it is currently being read. And I also just ordered the Live Ship Trader series in these same matching editions that I just really love. They have a lovely flop. And I really just love these covers, the simplistic covers, minimalist, and I just love these books, love these covers. So glad to own them and start my Robin Hobb shelf. Question number 14 is, what are the books you need to read by the end of the year? And I am trying to stay away from like need to read because I do tend to get too caught up in my TBRs, and especially after doing Herkyed and all of these other challenges, I really just want to be reading what I want to be reading. But I do have a couple goals. My overarching goals for the end of the year, for the second half of the year, are reading my owned TBR, my physical owned books, and then also finishing series. I really want to cut down my ongoing series list into series that I really want to be reading. So DNFing series, and also finishing up these series that have been hanging on for a long time. So those are my general goals. I've teased this book multiple times because it is in a future video, but I feel like I need all of the credit I can get for reading this book. So I need to finish War and Peace. I am this far through. I started at the beginning of February, but I'm hoping to finish it in August in a project that I will tell you about in a minute. But this is part of my Jokes on Me episode 6 that I've been working on since February, and I've been working on this book. I am actually quite invested in it at this point. I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying most sections. There are definitely sections that drag, and could this have been multiple books instead of one giant book, 1,300 page book? But yes, but I am really enjoying it, and I'm excited to continue reading it, and I do really want to finish this. Couple other books. I am continuing my Robin Hobb journey, of course, and I've mentioned The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. The last 2 books, so that's Malice and Valor. The last 2 books are Ruin and Wrath, and I really want to read those. I'm very excited to read those because I kind of had to put that series on hold for a couple months, even though I wanted to continue because of Herkyed. So just very excited to read those. And then the last couple questions are ones that not everybody does, but I like to do. A couple BookTube related questions. Question number 15, what is your favorite video that you've made so far this year? And I have 2. I'm going to link them for you. Number 1 is my Orla Gartland road trip vlog. I went on a little road trip to go to 4 concerts in 5 days for my favorite artist, Orla Gartland, and I vlogged the experience, and I just had an absolute blast, and I love that vlog, so I will link it here if you haven't seen it. And then the other one that I'm quite proud of is my screen time challenge. I did the Swapping Your Screen Time for Reading challenge, which people have done in the past. It's a pretty common video concept, but I had never done it before, or I think I tried it once and like got 2 days in and gave up. So I'm really proud of myself for, spoilers, completing that challenge, and I think the vlog is a pretty good one. So check it out if you haven't. Question number 16 is any upcoming videos you're excited to make. And here's where I'm going to tease something for next month. So Ruby from Ruby Red came up with this concept called All Done August, inspired by Finish It February in the fiber arts community, where you like are supposed to finish all your whips in February. That's a thing that goes around. And Ruby was like, I need to do that, but in August. Let's call it All Done August. And I was like, okay, me too. So I made a list of goals, both fiber arts, bookish, additional other things, just goals that I want to, things I want to finish or like make good progress on in August. And I am going to attempt to weekly vlog in August. So hopefully, if all goes to plan, on the first Monday in August, you will see my breakdown of my goals, my TBR, my schedule, the plans. And then the next 4 Mondays, you will see a weekly vlog. I've never really weekly vlogged before, so we'll see how it goes, but I'm really excited to try. So look out for those videos. Subscribe so you don't miss them. Coming soon. And the last question, question number 17, is to shout out some booktubers you've been loving. I love this question. I love to shout people out that I enjoy watching, that I enjoy interacting with, and I have 3 for you. Number 1 is Cheyenne from Cheyenne Buck Books. They'll all be linked down below. Cheyenne is newer to BookTube, but has been hanging around in BookTube spaces, has done Wonderthon in the past, and for a while, hanging out in BookTube spaces for a while. I love her as a human. I think she's so sweet, so kind, and I have loved her content as she's been starting on BookTube, and she's really consistent. She puts out great videos, and I highly recommend you check her out if you haven't. Person number 2 is Marcella from Marcella in the Margins. Marcella is another just so sweet, wonderful human who I love interacting with, and I actually am going to be hanging out with her in person coming up pretty soon, and I'm really excited for that. But she makes great content. She reads a lot of lit fic and has really thoughtful takes on lit fic books and other books as well, and I find her videos very calming, so I enjoy watching her as well. And person number 3 is Amanda from the Reading and Writing Life, another lovely, wonderful, sweet human who makes really ambitious content. I feel like Amanda reads a lot and makes a lot of videos, and they're all such great like quality, and I really admire her like grind when it comes to reading and video production, and I definitely recommend her channel as well. So all 3 of those will be linked down below. Definitely check them out. And that brings us to the end of the mid-year book freakout tag. Comment down below something, answer one of these questions. How's your reading year been going? Any anticipated releases? Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one, coming very soon. Bye!